free speech is essentially dead in this country. You know what would make the Founding Fathers kind of proud? Breaking the system apart, piece by piece, systematically. I know the government's been violating people's rights en masse because it's happening to me currently, but there are some things that we can do to fight back without actually resorting to violence. Keeping yourself out of jail would be nice. First, we can teach every person that's walking into a courthouse about jury nullification. It's one of the things that I'm going to start doing, teaching everybody that you have the right to say not guilty during a trial, even if they did commit that crime, they're calling it. If it's some stupid statute or some law that's been on the books for nefarious reasons for 100 years, and it's just being weaponized against somebody, or especially if it's a non-violent crime, just say not guilty because they're not guilty of an actual common law crime. If it gets to the point where most Americans are fed up with how many laws there are and rules and regulations behind this freedom we enjoy, then maybe they'll take a stand and do something. If they can't find a single person to put on a jury that doesn't know what jury nullification is and wants to use it, then there really isn't any way that they can have a stacked jury against any one person and weaponize the system against them. Second, and this one's a little bit harder, honestly, because it requires more personal resolve, but people need to realize that if you're going through a state type of charge, generally the time that they're going to give you for a plea deal is going to be what you'd get released for good behavior. So if you just say not guilty and fight for your rights, you will most likely be out of there at the same time if you do get the guilty plea, compared to if you just take the plea that they give you. No point in actually doing it in 99% of cases, unless you're going federal, and then you can be screwed. The numbers that I've heard has been between 5 and 10 times the amount of guilty pleas that they're getting by doing this quick before a trial, and people think they're getting a deal, compared to the amount of days they actually have to try this, which is like 1/10 to 1/5. That means that 80% of those people, they wouldn't even be able to make a trial date for in that year. And according to the 8th and 14th Amendments, they can't just hold you forever on crazy bond for no reason. So that would essentially dry up the prisons to a large degree as well. Force it so that there's 1/10 the amount of convictions going through, starve the prison system. The biggest part about that one is that they're getting pleas from people not because they're so kind and they want you to do less time in prison. It's because they don't have the manpower or the time/energy to convict that many people. They're getting these guilty pleas because they don't possibly have the time in the day to convict everybody that they're arresting. And most of the trials would be humbug BS anyway. And then you can start having problems for them on both sides of the coin. From the judicial side, where they're trying to feed this through and pad out their paychecks by making ever more work for people. And then the same thing on the prison side by filling beds, collecting government tax dollars, and more people to hire. It's a bigger ecosystem, so to speak. And the last, and sometimes most effective way, it seems, is to sue the shit out of them for everything, every little transgression. I'm in the process of doing that right now. I can't get any redress for anything from local government, and it seems like, even though I'm a disabled veteran that took the oath and did my time, honorable discharge, they don't give a fuck. They just see a guy that speaks out against some of the things that they're doing right now, and they're weaponizing themselves against me mighty good. But that doesn't mean they're not committing crimes and that this misconduct won't be seen eventually. So, gum up the courts multiple ways. Jury nullification, start clogging up the system with lawsuits to cops, judges, politicians, everybody that starts to violate American rights en masse, and they already are.